Please give it up for William.
All right, well, we'll see how long I can keep it together, but I'm Willie, nice to meet you. I knew her as, sorry. So I knew her as Aunt D, or Aunt Dorothy. I actually didn't get to meet her until much later in my life, comparatively to a lot of y'all who are probably here. So, the extent of my knowledge about Aunt Dorothy was, my dad was like, okay, yeah, she's ABC just like you, grew up in US, okay, cool. I was like, cool, okay, and she's like, oh yeah, she's a lawyer, something with the Supreme Court in New York City. That's it, that's literally the extent of the knowledge. Most of this stuff that you guys are talking about here and the titan of a person that she was, I didn't learn until like the last couple months. So all this stuff that you guys know about, I had no clue. So, but she had a huge impact on her family. And I didn't even realize this until much later in my life. One of the hobbies my father and I have is photography. This is something we've been doing my whole life. Dad gifted me a bunch of cameras when I was much younger as well. And I get to blame Aunt Dorothy for this. Back on our first visit to China, she got a camera in Hong Kong. And when she met like the Gu family and the Chin families for the first time, she ended up passing to my father. And through this kind of carried through me, who now I have a ton of pictures, and I'm glad I have a couple pictures with Auntie as well. Sorry. I know you guys like they're the career accomplishments and the accolades that she's won, but for me, like I said, she's just my aunt. She took care of us, showed me around town, showed me some good times that I probably couldn't have gotten anywhere else. One of my favorite memories is I know she loved live music, and she kind of got me back into it after like a decade-long gap. I used to play piano for like 15, 20 years, and then I kind of stopped and got busy with life. But she got me back into it. She took me out for like a jazz night at the Harvard Club, and also took me to see some opera stuff. For me, one of my close friends, his name's Wei Wu. He's an opera singer. He's a bass. He's really cool. You know, I thought homeboy finally made it after 10 years. He was performing at the Met, and I was like, damn, this is something else. And I know my auntie was, you know, she liked opera, she liked live music. So I was like, let's go on let's go see my buddy Wei. By the way, my buddy Wei is a Grammy singer, Grammy-winning opera singer. So this was kind of like a big deal for him, a huge accomplishment in his life. So we got to see him with Carmen, and it was really nice. Like I said, I wanted to take her out, but she ended up, her and Susan, hi Susan, they ended up taking me out to the Met, to the club, showing us a good night, and even they ended up taking Wei out later on too. So it's just like the experiences that she was trying to show me and like take us out, and just like I said, the titan of her personality, like even beyond all the accomplishments and the accolades, like as impressive as that is, I think it's more impressive that the person behind it is still who she was. And I know me and her also used to joke about this. I don't know about Chim family, Gu family, we have this terrible habit of being very low-key, which is why I did not learn about most of this stuff until the last couple months. So to kind of also give you an idea of her impact, that's also kind of why I put my job title. I don't really like to talk about this too much, but my family has always been, I call my family the G family. Not just for Gu, but because everybody's worked in government. My dad's been for decades in FDA, my mom's been for decades in OPM, and you know, Auntie was a judge for a while, decades too. The result of that, I'm what's known as a public safety radio engineer. I run every single radio that comes out of the city of Alexandria, every single radio that's in the National Capital Region in the DMV, my work is in that. When the boat hit the Francis Scott Key Bridge, we were there. When the plane hit the helicopter at DCA, we were there. But I just kind of want to show you the impact that it's not just the law, and it's not just the legal, but the fact that the passion and that we actually care about each other. think that to me was the biggest thing about Auntie. Like I said, because you never really told me about any of this other stuff that you guys know about. I literally learned this in the last half year. Except to me, she was just Auntie D, an incredible human being. And just, like I said, I'm glad I got to mentor her, and I'm glad I got to, she was willing to spend some time with me. So, sorry for being a mess, but thank you guys.
Well, thank you, Jack, for having me come up here and speak. I remember, and the picture was shown, when I first met you about 16 years ago, Dorothy would often come to brunch with our family, and she brought you 16 years ago. She told me about your wonderful musical performance. I missed that opportunity to go 16 years ago, but I know she raved about how well you played, and it was such a lovely thing. And I had forgotten until I uncovered some of my pictures of that time. And I want to thank you, and of course Judith, for hosting this wonderful event at the Explorers Club. Dorothy was always excited to talk about Judith and the Explorers Club, and about her friend that she did all these lovely things with. So I was really happy to finally meet Judith a couple years ago. She was quite the connector, and I looked back on my emails, and she mentioned Diane DeAngelis, and her husband Stuart, and she said, I have a lovely friend who has a men's health podcast. She goes, David, you should really think about talking to Stuart one day, but I never had the opportunity, and it was such a lovely meeting Stuart for the first time, and Diane for the first time, but she was such a wonderful connector. And Willie I met last summer in Washington, D.C., wonderful cousin of Dorothy, and he traveled to D.C. to be with Dorothy for this award I was getting from the International Leadership Foundation. So she was quite the connector, and that's something that I really remember Dorothy being. As Jack said, my name is Dr. David Yee. I'm a cancer surgeon at Sutter Health in California, but I also serve as a commissioner on the Asian and Pacific Islander American Affairs as Governor Newsom's appointee. And so it was nearly 20 years ago that I first met Dorothy in New York City by serendipity. There's a picture of us at this Organization of Chinese Americans event, but during that time I was doing my urologic oncology fellowship at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, not too far away from here. But I was also somewhat peripherally involved in politics, like Dorothy, and so we first met at an event at the Organization of Chinese Americans, where she was moderating a discussion between the campaigns for then Senator Barack Obama and Senator John McCain during the 2008 presidential election. She would always tell me, when I first read through your credentials to introduce you, I thought to myself, this must be one pompous guy. And she said, and you turned out to be the nicest guy in the world, and humble too. But that initial meeting sparked a deep and beautiful friendship between Dorothy and I. During my medical training in New York City, Dorothy was an integral part of our lives, and is godmother to our youngest child, Henry. At that time, she introduced me to her father, a brilliant physician who had a practice in New York City, Chinatown. She showed me the building that he used to practice in as we toured Chinatown. There's so much history in her family, as Willie had mentioned. Becoming family, we would routinely have brunch at Atlantic Grill, and dim sum at this place called Red Egg and Golden Unicorn in New York City. Other memorable moments, we're celebrating Chinese New Year at Jingfong Restaurant in New York City, Chinatown, for the spring banquet with my dear friends, Uncle Andy, who's here, and Uncle Frank from the Yee Family Association. I took Dorothy to the Museum of Chinese in America Gala at Cipriani Wall Street to hang out with what she would call the muckety-mucks. so the bigwigs, as she would used to say. Another memorable dinner was when she took me to the Modern in the New York City MoMA. That was very special, and I can honestly say that was probably the nicest place I've ever eaten at. As an art enthusiast, it was a great joy for us to learn about Asian art with our circle of Asian art friends. She would occasionally join me when I was doing research and looking at Qing and Ming Dynasty textiles at the Roddy Textile Center at the Metropolitan Museum. One particular moment that I vividly remember is her driving me to visit a Chinese art dealer's home in Blauvelt, which is about, I guess, 20 miles outside the city. I had no idea where we were going, but this dealer said, come to my house, and I have a dragon robe that I can sell to you if you're interested. But it's at her home, and I had no car. As a fellow, we didn't have cars, so Dorothy drove us out there. So. As we were negotiating a price, it was funny, but Dorothy helped seal a great deal for me by stating, please consider that David is a poor medical student and I'm a public servant. So the dealer acquiesced to her shrewd negotiation and gave us a remarkable price. But I remember how she negotiated that deal with the Chinese art dealer. In recent years, we had lovely times visiting art auction house previews during Asia Week and attending the Metropolitan Museum receptions at that time. Really amazing experiences. We even made the society pages in the New York Social Diary at one point during Asia Week. As the first Asian American in the state elected to public office, Dorothy also served as a mentor to me. She helped encourage me and facilitate my appointment by California Governor Gavin Newsom to the California Commission on Asian and Pacific Islander American Affairs. She was very proud of me and our family's heritage. Last July was the last time I saw her because I'm back in California, but she traveled to Washington, D.C., where I met Willie for the first time for this 20th anniversary gala of the International Leadership Foundation, where I was receiving a Civic Leadership Award, among other political luminaries and business leaders. But I would not be where I am today without Dorothy's mentorship. I feel blessed to have known Dorothy. During the pandemic, she was always concerned about me because I was in medicine. She was worried about my health, and she even nominated me one time for JetBlue had a Healthcare Heroes Award, and she scored 2 free round-trip plane tickets for me with that nomination. Prior to returning to California, she gave me a New York City police surgeon badge as a going-away present, which I hold very dear. It was difficult to get, and she had to pull some strings, but she told me to wear it at these fancy functions and impress my friends. So I wear it because it reminds me of our beautiful friendship. This gift from her means so much to me, and I'm wearing it for her today. Dorothy, I think I miss you and think of you all the time. Thank you.